when there's a crisis or an adversity or some kind of situation, humans will scatter, will panic and scatter. Horses will convene. And I think that says it all. And we need to convene.
Welcome to Women Thrive podcast. This is where you'll get to hear incredible stories of female entrepreneurs, business owners, women from all walks of life. Myself, Raymond Jan, and my co-host Abigail will be interviewing incredible women, hearing inspiring stories of women from all around the world. I have no doubt that you will find something that will be life-changing for you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and join us for our future episodes.
So welcome everyone to another episode of the Women Thrive podcast. My name is Abigail Rebecca. We're talking today about feeling empowered through your voice. And if you've followed us for a while, you will know that at Women Thrive, we talk a lot about using your voice for self-expression, to be able to stand for the things that you really believe in, to stand in your thought leadership, and also to be able to lead not only your community, but also yourself. In fact, our monthly showcase event where our speakers get to come and speak to all of you is called Empowering the Voices of Women. So we are very, very much aligned to that. And our next speaker, who we're going to be showcasing today on our podcast, is very into that. And I'm so glad that she is. And we spoke before we started recording about what it was that she really wanted to discuss, like what is the value that she wants to give to you, our audience? What is the message that she wants to leave with you? And she said very loud and clear about feeling empowered, like having our voices heard. Now, you're going to be listening to this podcast on a different time frame, probably about 2 or 3 weeks in the future. But as we're recording this, we are just a couple of days off the back of the US election results. And we're certainly not going to be discussing politics here. This is not the platform for that. But we are going to be talking about how you may feel impacted and affected by decisions that are made that often feel out of your control, that you feel disempowers you. And we've been having these conversations with so many women over the last few days within our community. So I am very excited to have this conversation today with this wonderful woman who we are very proud of to have on our stage. Her name is Pia Ault. She is a highly skilled and sought after transformation and empowerment coach. She focuses on personal development, social and emotional intelligence, and empowering individuals through the language of emotions and, wait for it, horses. Armed with a desire to support others, especially women, in their lives, Pia successfully guides individuals to become a higher version of themselves. Pia has a passion for helping women who desire a stronger confidence, presence, and identity. Women who have been made to feel small and now want to be seen and heard. Pia, what a great intro for you, and especially aligned to the conversation that we're going to be having today. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Abigail. I'm so delighted to be here. The timing could not have been more profound.
Yeah, it's a great conversation. Like I said before, we're having these conversations on our calls. So many women are feeling the effects all around the world, not just in the States. And it's really important to talk about this and how very often in life, things happen that do feel out of our control, but how can we empower ourselves, right? How can we come back to ourselves? And I love that the work that you do with women is about helping them to kind of step into their higher self. And that is really juicy work. So I'm very excited to discuss all of this with you. Pia, I'd really love to know, before we kind of dive into this, what got you to doing what you're doing now, and what brought you to horses?
I have always been passionate about horses, like a lot of girls are when you grow up, and started teaching myself ride. I'd go into any field, jump on any horse, and just let it rip since I was 5 or 6 years old. But later in life, as I was coming out of quite toxic environments in corporate careers, and went into my career as a coach and trained to be a coach because I knew what my horse has helped me with in terms of healing. And I needed to find out if there was a way that I could use her wisdom, her strength in healing others. And so by chance, I found this wonderful lady in the US, Lisa Morell, who was training coaches to get into equine-assisted leadership development and coaching with horses. And so I went through her program and then just slowly have built up my own, obviously my own confidence, worked a lot, hours and hours with my own horse and other horses, and then slowly kicking off workshops and retreats and one-on-one coaching where we bring the horse to the session. And really the horse is the teacher, the horse is the coach. And I not just, but, I'm on the sidelines, just asking questions and making real keen observations. So it's been sort of a long, deep journey through self-healing as well.
It's beautiful. I really love the work that you do. I've tried equine therapy before and it was just such an incredible experience. And Ray, if you're listening, Ramonda, the founder of Women Thrive, I think we need to do a team day with
I
you.
would love that. Yes, I would love that.
It just seems like so great as well that you're based in Spain and a lot of the Women Thrive events are in Spain. But anyway, that's because I really
another day.
I want to come and do an event with you. It's interesting, your background in corporate, because my background is also in corporate. And I don't know about your experiences, but my experiences, as much as the organization that I worked for was lovely and a great place to work, I didn't feel like I belonged there. And I also felt that in order to be successful and to get anywhere, like to get things done, just to get people to say yes to you, you need to really conform to the culture of that organization. So in terms of restriction, voices, I think for me personally, there was a lot of restriction still within corporate. They can bang on about empowering leaders and all of that, but at the end of the day, you need to fit into their mold. And if you don't, then it's goodbye. And I just wanted to know what your experience was around that in terms of your empowerment and finding your voice in corporate.
I think you're so right about having to fit into a mold. And yes, they speak about psychological safety, diversity and inclusion, mindset changes, meditation. I mean, all of these wonderful corporate programs that some bright idea comes out of HR or talent development. But in actual fact, there are very little spaces for empathy and emotions in the workplace. And this is one of the problems. We're working with hierarchies, so the information doesn't trickle up or down easily. We work with people who have the bottom line is the most important, right? Their shareholder value, bottom line, always doing to perform. And it's the human capital that sort of gets the short end of the stick in that. And that's both men and women. I don't think that's unique just to women. But overall, what I found when I finally left was that I needed to use my voice more without being judged. I needed to be able to speak up without feeling ridiculed or that I didn't count as much, that my value wasn't as much. And I found that when I started my own business, because you're your own boss and you are accountable to yourself. And I think that's so important to not come out with despair. I use what I learned at corporate every single day. Don't get me wrong. I coach leaders all the way up to board level. And I wouldn't be able to coach CEOs or other C-level people if I hadn't been part of that thought leadership, strategy, business development, all of those departments and organizations within corporate. So it's given me what I needed, but it's also given me a different view of how important empathy and emotional intelligence, in general, that how important that is in a corporate culture.
Yeah, I love these little big things that we can pick up along the way, these skills, these insights that we can then use for good within our business. And anyone that has been through that whole process and has left corporate and started their own business and then goes back like a stealth missile and infiltrates corporate is a good in my book. So I love that you're doing that. let's keep on the theme then around self-expression and using your voice and being able to express yourself in that way. You know, I mentioned at the top of this that we're in a week at the moment where certain things have happened, and no doubt the outcome of the election will have a huge impact on people's lives, but also just on the way that people's opinion of themselves. And I feel like with some people, there's almost like a little bit of helplessness around the whole situation. And there might be some people that will be watching and listening to that will have a completely different opinion to that, right? And will feel very empowered and very happy about the outcome. I wanted to find out how you're feeling about this, Pia, and what your thoughts are around when we're in these situations where we can often feel that we are disempowered, and what we can do to step back into that.
It probably shouldn't have hit me as much as it did. And I was a bit surprised because for the last time that there was a close outcome like this, it didn't go in the favor that I necessarily was hoping for. I was much more affected. And I thought this time, I'm not going to be surprised. It is going to be what it's going to be. But I woke up yesterday and was quite, I don't want to say that I was depressed, but these are the emotions that came up for me. Huge confusion, a lot of grief, a lot of anxiety. I don't know that helplessness or hopelessness was part of the feeling that I experienced, but I had to go through all of the different emotions, not to analyze, but to figure out, okay, what do I need to do next? What do I actually need right now? And what I felt that I needed the most was the ability to ask for support, to not sit in this alone, right? I'm a very strong woman. I can usually problem solve and superwoman, do all those things. But there was a moment where I thought, I need to ask for help. I need to ask for support. I need to find that support around me and then figure out how I get to the next level of this adversity. Like, how do I get through to the other side? And that could be rejuvenation. It could be self-care. It could be support, conversations with like-minded women. And so I started that process yesterday. And when I woke up this morning, I did a run on the beach, which for me, being in nature, it's the best healing. I was near the water. Water is my element. I'm a Cancer. So that had a big healing effect. It was just a beautiful, gorgeous sunrise. And I ran and I built up my energy that way. And then I while I was running and working out, I thought, I need to heal with other women. I need to be part of my sisterhood. And then we'll get through this. And also, most importantly, I need to get through this with no judgment of the people that feel elated, that are happy with the outcome, because we need to have compassion and empathy and work together to get through this.
I'm really glad that you said that, actually, because that can feel very difficult. If someone's opinions are very different for yourself, especially when it's so divided and so controversial, it can often feel very difficult to be able to accept that and to not judge, right? Because we can really stand in judgment of others when our opinions differ. So I love that you mentioned that. And yeah, the community aspect is really important. I mean, yesterday morning, I woke up and I wasn't surprised. I mean, it was shocking, but I wasn't surprised. So I meditated, I did Kundalini yoga, I sent love to everyone, right? Because I was like, okay, like if I'm living by my values of leading with love and having compassion and the fact that we are one consciousness, then I don't want to be hating on people. I want to be loving on people, but still having my boundaries and making it very clear about my opinions. That's my thought leadership. And then, much like yourself, really, and why we're having this conversation, I just thought, how do I need to step up in my leadership? Because if women's voices are being impacted, if women's rights are being taken away, then what do we do about that? And you're right, we stand together, right? We stand together, we empower one another. And as leaders in our community, we do have a responsibility to be able to lead by example. And I really loved yesterday because I was like, right, okay, let's do this, right? Let's do this.
Yeah. More than anyone, being in your business. And you've told this many times, I think this is your mantra, that your voice is your wand. And I love that because we have certain superpowers. We have strengths that we can use to our advantage, tools and resources. And I find for me, it's my voice. I won't silence myself, no matter what situation I'm in. And I also have my pen, or in more modern times, the keyboard. So speaking and writing, everything that's going on is for me that ability to uncensor myself and express what I need to express to be heard. Maybe it makes a difference, maybe it doesn't, but I need to get it out there. If we don't open our mouth, if we don't let our voice be heard and we censor ourselves and we make ourselves small, well, then we're never gonna get heard, right?
It really does. You make a difference. And what I love about you is you really embody that. There's something about your aura that when I'm in your presence, and we've never met in person, I've only ever known you in a little box.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll get to meet one day, Pia. But there is an inner strength and resilience that is within you that's tangible. I feel it. And even without saying anything, people will feel that from you. And then you amplify that through your written words and your voice.
Thank you.
So you are making such a big impact. And that's why we're so proud to have you as a speaker on our Women Thrive stage next year.
That's the other element of that. You need to have an outlet. You need to have a platform. You need to have a safe platform to speak from, right? One in where you're lifted up and you're supported and you're among like-minded women or men, where you can actually come together in unison. You share your voices, you share your poems or your memoirs or your whatever story it is that you're bringing. That has to come from some foundational platform that enables that. And I mean, that's what we got with the Thrive community and the magazine and other women in the group who has podcasts and interviews and TV shows. So I think it's kind of snowball. It starts small and then it just grows, and pretty soon we're going to have an avalanche of voices.
Absolutely. Obviously, we're talking about like the spoken word, but we all know communication is more than that. There's things that we don't even realize about ourselves, like the way that we're communicating. And this is why I love the work that you do, because I don't know that much about equine therapy. But what I do know is that animals are magical anyway, full stop. And horses, where are they from? They're like aliens. They're like this beautiful, they're from another world. And I'd really love to learn a little bit more about what that process involves and what's so magical about this connection that you can have with a horse, where a horse can guide you to heal.
Wow, where to start? Because they are magical, but really, when you break it down, they are just acting like they have acted and had to act for survival for thousands of years, right? So their behavior, and they're herd animals, and they are animals that can be preyed on by predators. So they have had to evolve to protect themselves and survive by being in a herd, by taking care of each other, making this community, and instinctually know when they need to run from danger and how do they need to run from danger. They don't exert any energy that's not necessary. Whereas, gosh, when we get stressed, we run around like crazy chickens with the head cut off, and we spend a lot of energy that is unnecessary. And they are so smart. They only run when they need to. That's one thing. And the body language that they use with each other sends very clear signals in terms of their pecking order, their hierarchy, who has what role, who has the guardian, the sentinel role, who has the lead stallion role, who is the lead mare, who's going to take the herd to resources, water, grass, etc. And so it's their natural behavior together that really teaches us and mirrors back to us as humans. How can we behave? How can we heal? How can we change mindsets? How can we just shift our beliefs a little bit by observing the horse interaction and then practice that, put that into our own behavior changes and shifting mindsets. And that's where the magic happens. Well, I know that it's not that they have this magic wand that they wave their hoof and then whoop, you're healed. But it's the process of being around them and observing and interacting. They won't interact with you if you're not authentic. They won't follow you if they don't feel that you can lead them to safety or keep them safe. Or if their main motivator is fun and you don't provide fun, why would they be with you? That's just smart, I guess. Yeah. So the magic happens in those interactions.
And so many things to learn as well from the wisdom of horses. You know, you were just saying about community coming together, and that's just what we've been talking about, right? Really having that wonderful community to be able to support, to empower one another, to support one another, like-minded, as well as all the beautiful therapy that horses can provide. That practical aspect of it is really perfect to what we're speaking today. Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing that one of my mentors, June Gunter, has said. She's part of Teaching Horse. It's an organization that I am a co-facilitator in when we do leadership development. And she says, when there's a crisis or an adversity or some kind of situation, humans will scatter, will panic and scatter. Horses will convene. And I think that says it all. And we need to convene in this crisis, in this, well, some people won't call it a crisis, but this adversity this challenge that we have to go through now of uniting for a better world.
Yeah, we're stronger. I mean, there's that, we all know the strategy of divide and conquer, right? And how many times do we see this happen? Because when we are scattered, when we are on our own, we only have ourselves. When we're together, then that's where the strength comes from.
Yeah.
And this is why I love the work that we're doing at Women Thrive, bringing women together, because we have been separated. We have been pitted against each other and really taught generationally to be suspicious of other women and jealous of other women and in competition. And actually, when you take all of that off the table and you come together in community with like-minded women, of course, and share vulnerably and stop trying to be in competition with one another and going into that beautiful energy of collaboration, then that's where really incredible things can happen, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Do you do your work from your home then or from your area? So how does it work?
I do both. I do a lot of my coaching and leadership development online because I have clients all over the world. I lived and worked in the Middle East for 12 years in Dubai. So a lot of my clients are still from that region. And so we convene on Zoom or Teams to do the leadership development or the coaching. I also do webinars. And so a lot of it is online, but I have a partner here in Spain now, and we are kicking off our horse-assisted learning, our experiential learning in the Mijas area where I live. But that doesn't mean we can't do it in other areas, because we can travel to wherever you are and we can find a nice venue with horses that we can then put on a retreat or a workshop or one-on-one coaching. So I love that flexibility. I'm not tied down to where my horse is. I love working with Lola, but I'm not tied down to working with her. I can go to other places and work with other horses.
Yeah, it's great that you can do that, Pia. What's your vision for the future in terms of the work that you're doing and also for the real movement for women's empowerment?
It's my intent to start doing more retreats, more workshops, getting women to come forward and, with the help of horses, find their voice, find their strength, start to become the next higher version of themselves and not to stay being small. I have done this horse-assisted experiential learning for almost 10 years now. And this is the way forward. This is what I want to do every single day. I don't want to retire. As long as I'm pretty sane up here and I can still physically work with the horses, that's what I want to do. And I want to write. I want to continue my articles, my first draft of my book that I'm working on. I want to keep getting the message out, spoken and written. That's my vision, because I can reach so many through that.
Mm. You were talking there about that we can very often keep ourselves small. And I know that a big part of your work is helping people to be able to see and really recognize that higher version of themselves, and then to be able to step into it. And that is a real art form, right? It's a real visionary that is able to kind of lead people through that process. What do you think, especially for women, what do you see are the common reasons why we as women can often keep ourselves small and not really go there and live our full potential?
I believe a lot of it comes from our conditioning. It could be cultural, depending on where you grew up in the world. It could be your immediate culture, like your family, the teachers, the people around you. But through our very early conditioning, we've been taught that emotions are not something that needs to be discussed. And not everybody has grown up like that, but a lot of the clients that I meet have been conditioned to go out and perform, educate yourself, be the best you can be, and then do. Just go on and do more. The sales aren't enough. Go and sell more. Go get more clients. Go get more customers. And so when we aren't able to express ourselves emotionally, and we have nowhere to put our emotions when they come, and they will come, and they're not the problem. They come because they need to help you with the situation or the problem that you're facing. But if we have been conditioned as children that they are not welcome, and that some of them are, very bad and negative emotions like anger and fear and jealousy, then we don't have any resources to pull on when we go into a board meeting or have a team meeting, or we have a new boss, or we go in and we have now become the boss of a new team, or we're in a client meeting with a new client and all of their representatives sitting around the table, and it's mostly men, at least in the technology and IT industry I was in. That can be intimidating. So we need something to project us into, we have a seat at the table. We add value. We have some knowledge that they need, and we need to believe in that. But so many of us have been conditioned to, you shouldn't really talk. Are you sure you have anything to share? Really? I mean, I had a VP who told me that I probably wouldn't succeed in the Middle East. This was right before I moved to Dubai. And he goes, yeah, you're really not going to be successful in Dubai or in the Middle East, really, are you, though? Okay, because I'm a woman? Why? Am I not tall enough? It was just such a, but you're not. And I almost believed it. And yet I was there for 12 years, working successfully.
I would say, have the conviction of a white, straight man, right? And then see what shows up for you.
Wasn't going to say it, but then again, why would I? Yeah.
I am going there.
Yeah.
So that conviction that person had saying that to you is the conviction that using our words in a different way to empower people, not to disempower people. But that person sounds like they were absolutely, I'm right, you're wrong, this is going to happen. And if we apply that to ourselves in the work that we're doing, bringing positivity and empowerment to the world, how amazing is that we have people like you to be able to help us to do that?
Yeah. And what is possible when we overcome those judgments or biases? What's possible when we just believe and get ourselves inserted into the situation? I've been to places that the white, stale, male, pale guys would not even go. I'm telling you, in Africa, they would not even go to some of the places I've been in. So that is our strength. We just need to not be afraid of using it.
Yeah, I agree. Oh my goodness, Pia. I could talk to you for ages about this. We're very aligned in our opinions and our work.
I know.
We use different modalities, but I just think what you're doing is wonderful. I'm so excited that we're able to expose you to our community in this way, right? That you being visible on this podcast and in our magazine, and you're going to be on our summit and you're on our speaker showcases and just sharing your pure brilliance with the world. So thank you so much for being a part of this.
Oh, thank you for involving me. I mean, I've had fun with you today. This is great.
And also, I think it's worth saying as well that you knew about Women Thrive and you were really attracted into joining Women Thrive as a speaker because you saw Ramonda speaking on stage in Spain. So her visibility, her talk then inspired you to come on and do this. And am I right in saying you're going to be speaking at that event as well?
I am. Yeah. It was a part of International Women's Day celebration, and we have Costa Women, and Ramonda was the keynote. Bravo to her. She just had a baby recently. She showed up, right? She spoke about her challenges and what had happened to her in terms of past adversity, challenges, trauma, and she rocked it on that stage. And I stopped her during the lunch and I said, I'm speechless because, oh my God, where do you get the courage to show up like that? And she laughed and she goes, oh, we just started chatting. And the magazine was on our seat. I had the conversation with her. It was just natural to look at this and go, I have to be involved here. So yeah, I'm speaking with you guys. And then I'm also going to be speaking at the next Costa Women's event in Marbella.
That is amazing.
In March.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Huge congratulations.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see. I hope you're going to get lots of photos taken of you speaking on that stage. And
I hope so, because TEDx, here we come.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's coming. It's already on its way, Pia.
I know. I just got to open the door.
Exactly. Pia, how can people find you? So you've been listening to us now for the last half an hour. You really want to contact Pia, get in touch or follow her on socials. Where can people find you, Pia?
So I have a website, www.cabelaconsulting.com. I'm also on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook, Pia Ault Coaching. I have an Instagram account, Pia Ault 3, at Pia Ault 3, I guess it's called. And my email is pia.ault@gmail.com.
Wonderful. Pia, thank you so much for
thank you
part of this wonderful experience for all of us.
Thank you, Abigail. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. And thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Be sure to go and check out Pia and her work. We'd love to know your thoughts, actually. Pia's just been talking there about the importance of community, a supportive community, like-minded women. And we all need this support, just like the horses. We need to gather, right, in a herd, especially if things are feeling a little bit unsettled for you in your life. So please know that the Women Thrive community is here as a great support. We have networking events every month. There's lots of opportunities for you to come into the community. And please reach out to us if you have any questions, and especially for Pia, if you have any questions about her beautiful work that she does. So inspirational. Thank you so much for joining us. And we will see you on the next episode of the Women Thrive podcast.
Thank you for tuning in to Women Thrive podcast. If you found today's episode empowering and inspiring, be sure to subscribe and follow us. Better yet, leave a review and share it with others. We're committed to bringing you more stories that will empower and inspire you on your own journey. Until next time, keep listening, keep learning, and keep pursuing your dreams.